Hello, welcome back. And on this week's episode, I really want to start getting on the point motors fitted before I get really involved in all the rest of it. So I have everything I need. I've got these Gaugemaster SEEP point motors. I do quite like using these. They are a little bit noisy. I've got Gaugemaster sockets. I have a CDU, I think that's from RK Technologies. I really like these ones. They're really powerful and really good. So I've just got a supply. So I'm going to use this independently from the the controllers, and I've got my momentary switches, and also actually the last thing, a box, and that's just going to be just a small switch box mounted on the front. I'll draw just a little bit of the layout just onto the box so I know where the switches go, and that's it. I'm just going to flip the layout on its back and start putting the point motors in. Right, let's get into fitting of these point motors. So I always leave the pin as long as and I'll trim it off afterwards. Just need to get this through the hole on the point. I'm struggling to see it from the angle that I'm at, but I will be gluing these in, and there is a reason for this. I'm only using 6mm board, and I've got like 6mm screw, and I don't want anything to go through the board. And it doesn't, obviously I could buy some 3mm screws or 4mm screws, but I don't actually have any, and I don't intend removing them. So I'm just going to use a little bit of contact adhesive. And it will set, and it will be secure enough, it won't fall over. So, and it gives me a bit of time to get this centralised so there's the equal amount of movement. I've got all my pads this side, so I'm going to make sure that they're all facing that way. When I come to wire it, it makes it easier. I haven't exactly decided where I'm going to put the switch box, the control panel, whether it's this side. I mean, you're not actually that far away from all the points. You could manually switch these, but I always do like to have motorized points. I'm going to get the rest of these point motors fitted now, and I'll come back and start to fit some of the other parts. So we've got the CDU unit, got wiring to get on. So let me continue, and we'll come back. I realised we've got a lot of light, coming in through the window there, through the blinds, and might not have been as easy to see on that one that I was trying to fit. This one's going to be a lot more of a pain because I sort of have my wires in the way. And obviously didn't anticipate that at the time, and it's sitting on a solder joint there, so I'm going to have to tidy that solder joint up before I fix that one in place. So there's always a problematic point motor, so I'm going to need to do a bit of tidying up and wiring before we do that. And like I said, it's straightforward, just dropping these in, and I bet you I've got a problem with this one as well. I bet this is too close to the wall. I might be okay there actually. Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be just too close to this baton, but that one's fine, and that one will be fine as well, I think. So let's just try it in this position. Make sure I've got, because when I cut this out, I didn't actually have any of the point motors to hand. Oop. Yeah, plenty of space there. Absolutely perfect. Like I planned it. Alright, like I just said a few minutes ago, let me get all these fitted, and I'm going to have to move some of this wiring now. That's a little bit of a pain because I've cut all those to the one specific size, so I'm going to have to extend those wires rather than resolder them on the layout itself, because it's all weathered now. Right, they're all nice and secure in place. I just put a little bit of black tape because that was quite a large size hole there, and I thought the black tape would stop any light coming through, and then you wouldn't see a sort of a hole underneath the points. So I've got the CDU unit, which is a capacitor discharge unit, and I just need to work out where I want the power to come in. So I'm going to put it somewhere roughly around here, something like that. I usually like it fairly close to where the power comes in, so I'm going to use this tin socket really, and that will be for the lighting and the power for the points. So I'm just going to drill a hole for that now and get that mounted, and then I can then put this on the board. I'll probably put it as close to the power as possible, but I do need to get to the connectors. So that's your inside actually, and that's out. So it'd be nice if I could mount it that way, but the capacitors are just too big, so I will have to mount it just like that on the layout on the board itself, so that will be fine. So let me get my drill and I will get this hole done. I've mounted the CDU unit. I've put a hole through for a DIN socket, and that's going to have the power for the lights and the points. So power comes in here, exits here. I'm just going to put a copper bus for the common. I just find it easier to do this than wiring them all back into one connector. So I've got a couple of wires still to join back up. That one needs to go on here, and I need to just join power wires back across, because I had to cut this section out, if you remember, and it was so I do need to just join that back up together. I'm going to get my common wire wired up from there to here. I'm just going to do this in red, and then there'll be a red wire that goes from here up to the switch box, and then I'll have a black and yellow wire that goes from the points up to the switch box for each switch, and then I'll wire it from the red wire, and then it will switch to either the yellow or the black, which will then flick this over to the right direction. So let me get the first wires in place. My soldering iron on, yep. Never blow on the solder. Try not to get it on your fingers. underneath there. Should have plenty, yep. Okay, that's enough. A little bit of slack in there, I can tidy that up. If you're wondering what the plaster is, I did add a slight accident when I was drilling one of the holes for the wires to go through the board. So what I would say is be careful. I put the screwdriver down somewhere then. Might just trim that down a little bit, I think that's a bit long. There we go. And this one is just going to go all the way to the switch. So what I've got on the opposite end of the board, I'll probably bring that fairly close like that. So I'll cut that about there, give me a bit, plenty of extra. And just pop that through there. So all the control box is going to sit sort of here. Only needs 5 switches on it, plus one for the lights. I might actually put one to join both the buses together, the DC bus. And then you can run them on one controller. So with these SEEP motors, you always get instructions. It's always best to keep at least one of these. So the common goes to C, and then we get the switch going from A and B. So that's all the only 3 wires we need on these, because they don't actually have the auxiliary switch. So you should be able to just see on the point motor here where we've got, let me get out the light. So you got A, C and B, and then so obviously we need to just take a wire from C, drop it onto here, and then the A and B will go with this one up to the switch box. So let me get that wire on now. It might not be that easy to show you while I'm soldering it on. I'm just going to measure a piece up. Always make it slightly longer, I do. You're not worried about, is it just going to fit? I'm using reasonable gauge wire on this. Can't remember which gauge I bought. I'll try and drop that into the description. It's always good, especially if they're going to go on a long distance, because it's going quite a good distance to the switch box, so don't really want too much voltage drop. And you'll always want to Let me just clean this solder line there. Just tin this pad. Could do with a little bit more light. The light's all from above and blocking it out. So I could actually shorten that a little bit. Might do that when I come to tidy those up. But I think it should be okay. So I've got my black and the yellow. I'm just going to leave these on the reel until I've got the right cable length, and then you don't waste. Well, I should say there's a lot less waste. Now I would say it doesn't actually matter at all whether you put black on A or yellow on A, but I would just keep them the same all the way through your points. Like I said, it's like if you cut them off, you end up wasting extra wire. So I'll cut them off as at the length I need, and I would say I'm going to come straight across there and then a right angle, so probably about there. So shouldn't actually waste too much then. And what I just push these ones through. What I do like to do is just tie those just together and get the yellow one back through, and that then tells me that that's all one switch. So I'm not gonna, so let me just, so I was just saying I'll just tie those together, just gives me So I know that that is 1-point motor and 1 switch. So I'm going to continue with the rest of these. So I'm going to get the rest of these all wired up now, and then I can start just putting the switches on the end and just testing it. That's all the point motors wired. So I've just got to tidy all these wires up now. So I've got all the ones ready to go to the switch box. So I just need to get these all nicely cable tied. So this looks a little bit neater underneath here. Don't like to see all mess. So I think that's my next job really, just to get these wires a little bit tidier, get them all all the same length, and just nice and tidy. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm just going to continue putting a few more cable ties in, getting them all nice and tidy. Definitely looks a lot neater now. Just need to get the switches wired up now. As I've got all these wires now to finish off. I've just gone onto PowerPoint and just created a small template of the basically as the layout shows, and I'm just gonna, if I can get the lid of this box off, can't quite get the lid off, but I've done that, and I'm going to stick that to the lid, drill the holes. I'll put one switch in for the lights, which I've put an extra couple of wires in for that, and then I can, you know, choose whether I fit all the lights to all the buildings or not after that. So I'm going to get this drilled, mounted onto the board, and see how it looks. I've got all my switches mounted on the board. I've got my box on the layout, and obviously I pulled all my wires through, so I'm just going to need to wire this all up. But before I do that, I'm going to just wire some bus wire all the way onto the centre parts of the switches, and this gives me my common, and I just need to then connect the red to that. Just makes it a lot easier than trying to connect this to that, to that, to that. So let me get all this wired up, and I'll show you what I've so it's just simple as I tend to just push it through the hole and then get to the next one and then solder them. So let me do that now. It's fighting back at the moment. Right, I'm going to get the rest of this done just off camera, because I just can't quite seem to get this while I'm trying to do it sort of in the camera viewfinder as well. So give me a couple of minutes and I'll have this ready to solder. Right, that's all that threaded through. That was the just needed to get some pliers to just pull it through, so I'm going to quickly solder these joints up. And that's that part complete. Now I can work out, now I just need to work out which point motor goes to and then join it to the correct switch. So that's easy enough to do. I just need to take the wires, just tap them on there, see which one's open, and then solder it to the correct switch. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. Right, I've got all my switches fitted. I just need to know which ones go to which now. So I'm just going to get my wires, just work out which one actually does switch each one. I mean, I could have labelled these as I was pushing them through, but it's just as easy, I think, to just do this. So and then I'll just watch which one switches to know which one to solder it to. One thing that I do also check is just to make sure that switching it the right direction. So as I press down on the switch, I want my point motor to move down, so I know that one there. So I'm just going to get them soldered up. Didn't seem to want a tin then. Quite hard holding the and just tin the switch. It does get hot when you're holding it sometimes, but best not blow on it. You get poor soldering joint then. Although I don't know whether that was my best, I might have to double check that. But so if I've got this, that should be that point there. And that's all working. apart from I have got it the opposite way round to what I wanted it to. So I thought I'd double check that. But, no. So as I push it down, the point motor goes the wrong way. Must have been me thinking it was upside down. I'm catching the common there all the time. Okay, so I was checking it. So there we go. Press it down, point motor moves up. Point motor switches down and then press it up, it goes up. So that's all working as it should. So I can just show you. It was that one there. Probably just see it. I'm just going to get the rest of these wired up, so let me so I just need to do exactly the same on the rest of these wires, and I can mount this into the box itself, and everything should be fine. Right, give me a few minutes and I'll get all that complete. So that's that all fitted and it's all working. So obviously just makes it easier if you're standing here, remote access to it. So what I do need to do now is just cut these off level. Seem to get quite hot doing that, so didn't want to damage the plastic. I think I'll just trim them with my cutters. Hopefully that's low enough. So I don't normally use the Dremel tool cutting these, but didn't like all the sparks going across, so I think it was just better to use my side cutters. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you've found this useful or take something away from it. But I'll see you on the next video, and have a good evening or a good rest of the day, and take care.